please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Hi, very good morning. You're watching Trading Hour on CNBC TV18. I'm Ekta Batra. With me is Prashant Nair, and it's turned out to be a firm start to the week. We have the Nifty, which is above 10,800. We have the mid-cap index, which is outperforming. So good going on both levels for the Nifty as well as for the broader markets at this point in time. Separately, lot of stocks to discuss today. So we have the entire pharmaceutical space, which is just buzzing and seeing follow-on buying from Friday's trade. So Sun Pharma up around 2.5%. That one comes up for you. PNB, which is up around 4%. Something like an Inox Wind, which has recovered from the day's low, but nonetheless still down around 3.6% despite clarifications coming in from the management with regards to the auditor issue. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, hi. Beginning the week on, not a bad note, right? 44, 45 odd points, as you said, and lots of events. This is an event week. So you've got 3 central bank meetings which are lined up. That is the Fed, the ECB and the Bank of Japan, and all 3. Actually 2 out of the 3, the Fed and the ECB, are going to be very important. That's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you got that covered. And Tuesday, that is tomorrow, you've got that North Korea summit. So a fair bit of headline risk, if nothing else, is going to be important to track. So with that short comment, we'll of course talk more about factors and cues at play. But Sudarshan Sukhani is with us on the top of the show. Sudarshan, good morning. Good to have you here. Thanks very much. What would you do? Would you be comfortable going long here, or would you wait and watch?
Yeah. Good morning. Well, we are long, and that's the comfort level. If we wait and watch, then the market simply may keep us aside and move on. So in the morning, the suggestion was to go long, and that suggestion is now repeated. Of course, the markets have gone up since morning, but even at current levels, there is a justification for buying the Nifty. The Nifty bank itself is not very clear. It's rallying, but it's underperforming. So the focus should be on the Nifty and on private sector banks. So that's the area where we want to be long. And see, news is going to be part of this process. The markets are now probably adjusting to repeated news events, sometimes favorable, sometimes not. And markets are telling us that the trend is up.
Okay. Sudarshan, morning. What are the stocks that you would pick, and what would your call be on pharmaceutical stocks as well?
Well, I'm picking RBL Bank for buying. In the morning, I had talked about Kotak Bank. There are selected private sector banks that are likely to outperform. So we are focusing on that. So RBL Bank is a buy. So is Jubilant Foods. Jubilant Foods has been outperforming for months altogether, and that continues. And finally, M&M, another stock that is outperforming. Today is a day for, as your channel is also showing, it's a day for the larger indices, and we are focusing on 2 large caps and say preferred stocks. So M&M, Jubilant Foods and RBL Bank, all for buying. Do not go short in this trade. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was, and the answer about pharmaceuticals. Yes. I'm upbeat on pharma. Yes, I'm very upbeat on pharma. Unfortunately, stocks have not obliged me. They have been falling consistently while I think they were ready to build a base. Maybe this is the end of the bear market in pharma. As an investor, you should be looking at buying good quality pharma stocks. Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Lupin. All of them are bottoming out.
Okay, Sudarshan, we are going to get some queries answered from you. So our viewers are writing in. Asif has 1,600 shares of Manpasan. My God, he's got Manpasan, they're 390 rupees each cost. He wants to know what he should be doing. What is your view, Sudarshan?
Well, it's difficult to give a view, but then you have to exit. You have to sell and get out. So there are 2 messages here, 2 lessons that we should learn. One is that if you are in mid caps and the stock starts falling circuit down, there is no exit, there is no escape route. And therefore, when you are in mid caps, keep your volumes very, very low. And the second lesson is you don't have to be in, say, mid caps which are not of the best quality. So, but now exit, please sell.
Okay, one more. Bellingiri has 2,000 shares of CG Power, which is bought at 60. Sudarshan wants to know if he should continue to hold or switch to another stock, and if you could recommend the stock as well, if in case it is a switch.
oh, he should switch. Luckily, there's no damage done. It was a big down day, and after that, but even at that point, there's no big price damage done. Exit mid-caps. I've explained on this show repeatedly, the next few months are not going to be comfortable for mid-caps, and you can buy L&T. That's the best engineering power equipment stock we can get. So consider buying L&T and switching from this.
All right. Thanks very much, Sudarshan. Appreciate you joining in. We'll catch up soon again. 50 points now almost on the Nifty. 10,816 is where we are at. I think we have F&O strategies now. Rahul Shah from Motilal Oswal is with us. Rahul, good morning. Your trades?
I think again 3 stock ideas from my side, and I think metal is one sector which has been doing quite well for series on series, and then one stock has been hitting highs on highs, new high. So that is JSW Steel. So we've seen the stock at 52-week high on Friday, and stock still looks promising from current levels. The long built up as well as a new breakout in the stock. So I think one can still go long on JSW Steel with a stop loss of 337 and target of 360. Secondly, interestingly, we've seen entire NBFC pack bouncing back on last couple of days. So I think still longs we made in a lot of stocks which have been hammered. So in that space, I think Piramal Enterprise is a buy from my end with a stop loss of 2410 and target of 2550. Thirdly, I think Tata Motors post numbers, I think we saw some sell-off, and now smartly we've seen some rally in the stock. So I think it has taken a support at 285, 286 levels, and looks like still it can rally from current levels of another 5-7% or odd. So I would go long on Tata Motors with a stop loss of 301 and target of 325.
Rahul, thanks very much. Appreciate you joining in with that quick perspective. Okay, Ekta is going to come in on Alembic. I mean, the company has got the first approval from the Penella facility post inspection. How significant is this facility and what this could mean for Alembic? Ekta, over to you.
Well, it is actually very important in terms of a development for Alembic, Prashant. I'll just put it into context. The Penella facility is actually a formulation plant for the company where most of its US filings are from that particular facility. It was inspected in March, and there were 3 observations which were issued by the US FDA. So the street was a little apprehensive on whether these 3 observations would be resolved easily or not. So the first indication for a company to actually get the go-ahead from the US FDA is when they receive an approval from that facility. So they have received an approval for an antidepressive drug, Wellbutrin generic, which is by GSK Pharma. So they've received the generic approval from that particular facility, and it is the first approval that they've received since this inspection took place in March of 2018. This drug is only $37 million in terms of market size, so it's not that significant. The reason the stock is up 7% is because of the approval coming in from this facility. So it negates concerns that there are any sort of issues post that US FDA inspection which took place.
All right, Ekta, thanks very much. Stock's up about 7%, and we'll get you more opinion as we go along on this and more. But pharma, I mean, Friday was a big day. Today, again, seems to be building up. We take a very quick break here. The first on the show, we come back and discuss the banking move which came through on a Friday evening. We had the Finance Minister Piyush Goyal flanked by top bankers, essentially talking about setting up, I mean, the possibility of setting up a AMC or a ARC for bad loans. Krishnan ASV of SBI Cap Securities will join us with his thoughts on how seriously should one take this. What are the chances that we actually see something on the lines of a bad bank? Back in 2. Okay, welcome back. There are flashes from what the former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram is saying, and he's essentially saying that economic conditions have worsened in the last 12 months, and he goes on to sort of touch upon the various facets of the economy where he believes that things have gotten tougher. Okay, we had on Friday evening Piyush Goyal, who met the top public sector bankers in Mumbai, and there was a press conference after that. You know, one of the important things which came out of that was this announcement that a committee is being set up, and that committee in the next 2 weeks is going to come up with a proposal which will look at the viability of setting up a AMC, an asset management company or an asset reconstruction company for bad loans in India. Many interpret that as, you know, sort of going back and bringing back on table the idea of a bad bank. You know, a bad bank for basically all bad loans in the system, sort of a warehouse. Krishnan ASV of SBI Cap Securities is joining us on the phone line right now to talk about this. Krishnan, thanks very much. Good morning. I mean, as an analyst, how much faith would you put in an announcement like this?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, May. Thanks for having me on the show. I think the intent is quite noble. I think policymakers, especially after the RBI's Feb 12th circular, are looking for ways and means to be able to warehouse certain valuable assets. They are looking for special purpose vehicles where these assets can be warehoused for a while until the resolution environment improves. So from that perspective, anything around an ARC or an AMC or a bad bank equivalent, these are all options on the table. But it's also important to understand that the provisioning impact will come through first, no matter which vehicle these are warehoused into, whether these are private owned or state owned or jointly owned. There will be transfer pricing that will mean that banks will have to shift these assets onto that special purpose vehicle. Obviously, that will happen at a certain discount. And so you need to get a lot of bankers on board to be able to move this forward. So that's where generally we have faltered in the past. I mean, it's been very difficult to get, unanimous consent amongst bankers for some of these moves in the past.
Krishnan, based on where we are in the NPA cycle post Q4, do you think that there is a need or an urgent need for a bad bank?
I'm sorry, I just lost you a bit. Could you just repeat this?
Based on the fact that we've seen a lot of the NPAs already recognized by most of the PSU banks and, the provisions already done in Q4 as well as the entire FY18, do you think that maybe we could be bottoming out when it comes to the NPA cycle, and hence maybe the bad bank could be a thought which could be pushed further down the line?
So, yeah, I mean, in terms of impairment recognition, we are definitely closer to the end of the tunnel. I mean, we recently, our team had put out thematic around power sector distressed assets. We still believe there is about 30% to go on that sector alone. But having said that, these are, as I said, very valuable assets. The resolution environment right now is a buyer's market. Unfortunately, that's the reality. These may be valuable, and if the resolution environment was to improve, we are broadly constructive on the resolution environment in about 18 to 24 months. Unfortunately, because of the RBI circular, we are at a stage where banks have very little wriggle room, so to speak. So if a lot of these assets were to be pushed into NCLT prematurely within, say, the next 6 months or so, this remains a buyer's market for that much longer. So as I said, a special purpose vehicle is a good idea to consider. The challenge will always be in terms of what kind of buy-in you get from the system. If it's a pre-done deal, if, say, for instance, if the FinMin has put its foot down and said, this is the way we are going to move forward, I think that's probably the best way this will, see the light of the day. If bankers need to come to a consensus, we could be in for a long wait.
No, but you don't get the sense that this is one of those situations where the finance ministry, the government has decided and everybody eventually gets around a way to backing it. It doesn't seem like that, right, Krishnan?
So we get mixed views. I mean, it doesn't seem to be a done deal.
Sure.
Prashant.
Okay, that's what I was.
Bankers are likely to come up with certain plans around the viability of this. As I said, that's generally been the area where we have faltered in the past.
Okay. Any PSU bank stocks worth buying here, Krishnan?
So we don't comment specifically on SBI, right?
Sure.
So given that that's a parent entity in this case, but I would think the investable universe as it is had shrunk over the past 12 to 18 months. I think we've been saying that repeatedly on your channel as well. The number of PSU banks that we find investable would have shrunk to a very low single-digit number, right? Within that, there is obviously beyond SBI, I think there are a number of other strong PSU banks where there is an overhang that some of these relatively stronger PSU banks could be asked to absorb the weaker PSU banks.
Sure.
That overhang, I think you need to price in, because that's a very legitimate overhang, right?
Like a Bank of Baroda, basically.
I would think so, yes.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Krishnan, what about private banks then? And what would your pecking order be when you compare it to PSU banks as well?
Very clearly, we have been constructive on corporate lenders for a while. We think, earnings catalysts will begin playing out in FY19, and we see most of the evidence building up towards that. It's not a second half phenomena. I think already you're seeing some resolutions where which did not have a P&L effect in FY18, but in FY19 definitely resolutions will also play a big role. So yeah, I mean, we are constructive on corporate lenders' earnings as well. Our pecking order within the private sector corporate lenders is Axis Bank, Yes Bank, followed by ICICI Bank.
Axis, Yes, and ICICI. Krishnan, thanks very much. Appreciate you joining in. Good speaking with you, and I'll talk to you soon again. Thanks indeed. 40 points on the Nifty, so 10,808 is where the Nifty is at. We will take a very quick break here. We come back, we discuss what's buzzing in the commodity space. T. Gyanshekhar of Commerce Trends will put out some trades. That is coming right up.